We've got Bill and Keonne, the samurai wallet devs, who are now both been sentenced to spend multiple years in prison, massive fines, all these things. Meanwhile, the Jeffrey Epstein's bankers at JPMorgan Chase just paid a slap on the wrist fine for admitting that they were aiding and abetting sex trafficking and laundering money for this guy. But nobody goes to jail there. So, that's that's a cost of doing business. It's like when these big banks launder money for the cartels and they're like, oh shit, you're right. Okay, we'll pay the fine. And then we'll just keep doing it. Like, it's so insane to me that you've got this incredible double standard where you just you'll just forgive a big bank for laundering money for a sex trafficking, blackmailing, probably government asset, not going to say which government asset guy. But then a couple of guys who write open source software, you slam them with money transmitter license, failure to get a money transmitter license, even though the institution responsible for issuing those licenses said that they don't need a license, but you're going to get them anyway. And you're like, fuck, man, it's fucking ridiculous. Free samurai, pardon samurai. They should not be going to jail. And I truly hope that President Trump does something.
I know. And I'd like to see the full force of the community come out in the same way they did for Ross, if not more so. My God, like this is even more cut and dry. There's no malintent here that I can see. This is basically a judge and the legal people involved in the legal system not doing their job. Like they did not learn about the subject that they were ruling over at all. You could tell by her, I don't know what you call it, her own thoughts on the subject, like at the sentencing, the things that she said, that he said, the judge, and I don't know. It's just a shame. We gotta get him out. I don't know how to do that. I think it's always been apparent that there's this huge double standard, though. It's our government's very, very corrupt. That's ultimately why we're here. It's very broken. But I don't really. The hard part is it's really disheartening when you point out like all the different ways that it's broken and manipulated, and I think the way to have a clearer goal in mind is to try to fix the money. Like that is the root cause of most of the corruption and the problems that we face. And if we can get a grasp on that, we can at least swap out fiat currency for Bitcoin wherever possible and get people to ditch the fiat system. We'll be in a much better place, and a place where people have at least retained property rights and freedom of speech and wealth and sovereignty.
I say amen to that. And it's like that's the beautiful thing, is that any one of us can opt in at any time and start moving. Jeff Booth is always, I just talked to him earlier this week, and whenever I talk to Jeff, I just leave like buzzing for a few days, being like, okay, I need to be better. I need to be better about moving more of my time and attention into this parallel system and doing whatever I can to spend as much time existing in that parallel system and contributing value to it as possible. Because like that is ultimately, I don't think the beast gets fixed from inside the beast. You know what I mean? I think the beast has to be drained of blood by another system, basically just sucking it dry, sucking the monetary energy, sucking the intellectual talent, sucking all of the good parts of this system that are currently, encased in this fucking, I don't know, wall of shit, whatever you want to call the fiat panopticon is becoming, and moving that into this parallel system. And the more time and energy and attention and economic power that moves into this parallel system, the stronger it becomes and the less powerful this existing entrenched power structure becomes. And so it's like it's why it's incumbent on each of us to just do what you can, figure out how you can move a little bit more time and a little bit more attention and a little bit more energy over to the parallel system every day. And if you can do that, like you are actually, like it's like the meme, like I'm doing my part, but really like that's how you do your part. You do your part just by acting and choosing to act every day and making individual subjective value judgments. And you make the world just like a little bit of a better place by putting more of your energy into the better system, the fairer system. And that's like, it gives me hope. Like this is why conferences are great, because you get to hang out with a bunch of Bitcoiners and see what they're doing in that lane, right? See what they're doing to make that parallel system better. But I don't think the system can fix itself from within the system, right? Like I think Bitcoin helps externally, not so much internally. Like it only helps internally in that it will help accelerate the existing system's demise, I think. Like I don't think Bitcoin can save the existing system. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think, well, I think both things are true. Like there's one, just kind of like opt out on all fronts, preserve yourself, like put on your oxygen mask before helping others. But once you're in a stable place, you have a good stack, and you kind of, there's a really big question that everyone has to answer for themselves, which is like, what do you do with your time? You have all this wealth. Like, how are you going to live your life? How are you going to get healthy? How are you going to, production of your own genes and longevity and inhibit kind of bad things from happening around you and the people around you. And it's like you have to go out and like exemplify that life. And I think part of that means actually interacting with a lot of normal people and leading by example. Like in my immediate friend group, the people I spend the most physical amount of time with, they don't have any Bitcoin. They're increasingly interested in it. They have a lot of questions just by virtue of like being around me a little bit. I don't promote it in front of them. They just like happen to know what's up. And they see, you know what I mean? They see like a level of kind of like clarity of vision. They see an inherent skepticism of they've been, repeating the company lines, the government lines for a long time. They'll see that I don't tolerate it at all. I'll just be like, so lies. Actually, you know what I mean? Like you're the odd one out when you're the big corner in your group of like normie friends. But I think that's important. I don't think it's a good idea to reject them completely because they're good people. They're just not there yet. And you can only get them there by leading by example and succeeding. And your success likely will try on your ideas and beliefs to try to replicate that. So I think it's important to like get out in your local community, and spend time with those people. Mm-hmm.
I totally agree with that. Like there's a lot of good people out there who just you need to hand them an orange pill and eventually they'll take it on their own. But there's a lot of people that are very much worth saving out there. And, can't save everyone, but like, you're right. Once you get to a certain point, it's like, what are you going to do? Like, what are you going to do with yourself? You're going to retreat back and, never talk to anyone ever and just guard yourself away in your citadel. Like, it sounds kind of nice, but it's also like, we need people. You want good people to be with you on this journey through this fucking fourth turning. You want people to come out the other side with that aren't going to come, to the gates of your citadel with pitchforks and be like, we got to burn this motherfucker down because there's this fat cat Bitcoiner in there. Like, no, that's why you need to get as many people on board with Bitcoin as possible. Because when things get really dark, you don't want them to be like, that's the fucking Bitcoiner. It's all his fault. Elizabeth Warren told me so. Like, you don't want to get to that place. You know what I mean?
No, I think it's going to be, the transition's a little bit hard. You're going to lose some friends over it. It happens. I think just even the whole Trump grift of like the last couple of years definitely got a lot of people that are like, oh, you're a Republican. Like they just make the assumption you're a Republican, you're a big Trump guy. It's like, I actually never voted in my life. It couldn't be further from the truth. So don't know what you're talking about. But like everyone at any given time, I would like urge people to not think in terms of like ultimatums and like non-redemptive paths. Like everyone is not either good or bad. Like if you're a Bitcoiner, everyone's either their actions are net positive or negative for Bitcoin or neutral at any given time. It's not forever. Like Trump will not always be good for Bitcoin. There's some days he does things that are really the antithesis of what we're going for. It's the same with, Howard Lutnick. It's the same with, pick your favorite CEO in the space. It's a double-edged sword. It's just like we're all humans, we're all fallible. So it's just at any given time. This is also like the editorial thesis that Roxxam as a media company is founded on. It's like everything that happens is, might not all be directly related to Bitcoin, but it's probably good or bad for it in some way. So rather than red versus blue, that's the lens that we take on things. Obviously, we want to point out those things that are good for it, but we understand we're not going to endorse political candidates because they're not always going to be good for it. They're going to do some things that are good and some things that are bad. And we should be able to talk about and weigh those things, as we go.